Good morning dear students. Today we are going to discuss about posterior compartment of the leg. Posterior compartment of the leg is also known as the calf region. Okay. So this region, it corresponds to the front of the forearm. Okay, in the upper limb. So basically the leg, it consists of three compartments. The posterior compartment, as you can see in this picture, the anterior compartment in the front, and lateral compartment facing laterally. So among these three compartments, the posterior compartment of the leg is the bulkiest because it contains large powerful anti-gravity muscles, for example the gastrocnemius and the soleus, etc. Okay. The posterior compartment of the leg contains flexor muscles which are helpful for the plantar flexion of the ankle joint. So there is a superficial posterior compartment and deep posterior compartment in the flexor compartment of the leg. So there are three muscles in the superficial compartment of the back of the leg, that is gastrocnemius, plantaris and the soleus. So we shall discuss in detail about these muscles in further slides. And there are four muscles in the deep compartment of the posterior aspect of the thigh. Number one, popliteus, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus and tibialis posterior. Let us discuss boundaries of the posterior compartment of the leg. Anteriorly, the posterior compartment of the leg, it is bounded by posterior surface of the tibia and the fibula and the interosseous membrane and posterior intermuscular septum. Posteriorly, it is bounded by deep fascia of the leg. As you can see here, this is the deep fascia of the leg, extending from the medial border of the tibia to the posterior intermuscular septum. The posterior compartment of the leg, it is subdivided by two strong fascial septa into three parts. Number one, that is superficial transverse septum. As you can see, this is the superficial transverse septum, and the deep transverse septum. So with these two septa, the posterior compartment of the leg is divided into three parts, into the superficial part, middle and the deep part. So we shall see about these three parts in detail. Let me explain you again about the subdivisions of the posterior compartment of the leg, that it is subdivided by two strong fascial septa. One is superficial transverse septum, the other is deep transverse septum. So with these two septa, it is being divided into three parts: superficial, middle and the deep part. So this superficial transverse septum, it is attached medially to the medial border of the tibia. It is attached medially to the medial border of the tibia and laterally to the posterior border of the fibula. So this is the attachment of the superficial transverse septum. Whereas the deep transverse septum, it is attached medially to the proximal part of the soleal line of the tibia and laterally to the posterior border of the fibula. So these are all the bony landmarks. Okay, the soleal line of the tibia and posterior border of the fibula. That is the attachment of the deep transverse septum. Now let us discuss about the superficial part of the posterior compartment of the leg. So the superficial part, it is present between the superficial transverse septum and the deep fascia, which contains gastrocnemius, soleus and plantaris. So we can make out here the soleus, the gastrocnemius and the plantaris. So this is the superficial part of the posterior compartment of the leg. Then middle part, it is present between the superficial and deep transverse septa. Superficial and deep transverse septa. In between these two, you have the middle part of the posterior compartment of the leg, which contains flexor digitorum longus and flexor hallucis longus and posterior tibial nerve and the artery or the vessels, posterior tibial nerve and the posterior tibial vessels. The deep part, it is present between the deep transverse facial septum and posterior surface of the interosseous membrane. So this is the interosseous membrane and this is deep transverse septum. What does it contain? It contains tibialis posterior muscle. So this is about the three parts of the posterior compartment of the leg: the superficial part, then the middle part, then the deep part of the posterior compartment of the leg. Then I have already told you that the contents of the posterior compartment of the leg, we have superficial and deep group of the muscles, which we have discussed in the previous slides. Then arteries, we have tibial and the peroneal arteries, and nerve we have the tibial nerve. Okay, so this is about the subdivisions or the boundaries of the posterior compartment of the leg. Let us discuss about superficial muscles of the posterior compartment. Let us discuss about gastrocnemius. It is the largest and most superficial muscle of the posterior compartment of the leg. It consists of two heads, medial head and the lateral head. Medial head arises by a flat tendon from the medial condyle of the femur, whereas the lateral head arises from the lateral condyle of the femur. So both the heads, they descend down and unite at the middle to form broad thin aponeurotic tendon, which unites with the tendon of the soleus, which is known as the tendo calcaneus or the tendo Achilles. Eventually this tendo Achilles inserted into the middle of the posterior surface of the calcaneum bone. Okay, so origin is from the medial head, from the medial condyle of the femur, lateral head from the lateral condyle of the femur. So these, they descend down and they unite and they form a broad aponeurotic sheath along with the soleus. Then eventually, so this sheath is known as the tendo calcaneus, which eventually inserts into the middle of the posterior surface of the calcaneum bone. Nerve supply, both the heads of the gastrocnemius, they are supplied by tibial nerve in the popliteal fossa. Both the heads are supplied by tibial nerve in the popliteal fossa. Let us discuss the actions of the gastrocnemius. So it is a chief flexor of the foot, the plantar flexor of the foot we can say. So it is helpful for the plantar flexion of the foot. Then it also acts as a flexion of the knee, and it provides rapid movements of the foot during running and jumping. So that is about the origin, insertion, nerve supply and action of gastrocnemius. Let us discuss about the soleus muscle. It is one of the superficial muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. It is a multipinnate muscle. It lies deep to the gastrocnemius. So it is named as the soleus because it resembles to a sole. Okay. Origin of the soleus. It arises from the posterior surface of the shaft of the fibula. Okay, posterior aspect of the shaft of the fibula, and also from the soleal line and middle 1/3 of the medial border of the tibia. Okay, so number one, origin is from the posterior surface of the upper part of the shaft of the fibula bone, and from the soleal line and middle 1/3 of the medial border of the tibia, and also from the tendinous arch between tibia and fibula. So this is the origin of the soleus muscle. So basically it is arising from the fibula and the tibia and tendinous arch between tibia and the fibula. Insertion of the soleus. The muscle fibers, they run downwards to form a belly, so which eventually gives rise to a tendon. The tendon of the soleus, it unites with the gastrocnemius to form tendo Achilles or the tendo calcaneus, which is inserted into the middle 1/3 of the posterior surface of the calcaneum. So this is the origin of the soleus, and this is the insertion of the soleus. Okay, so but that means both the gastrocnemius and the soleus, they have common insertion. That means they form a tendon which is known as tendo Achilles or the tendo calcaneus, which is inserting into the posterior surface of the middle 1/3 of the calcaneus bone. Okay. Nerve supply of the soleus. It is supplied by two branches of the tibial nerve. So the first branch supplies the muscle in the popliteal fossa, and the second branch supplies the muscle in the posterior compartment of the leg from its deep surface. Okay, so soleus is supplied by two branches of the tibial nerve. So what are the actions of the soleus? It is a plantar flexor of the foot, and it is considered as a workhorse of the plantar flexion. The soleus, it is also known as the peripheral heart. I will tell you why it is known as peripheral heart. Okay. The soleus muscle regarded as a peripheral heart because it contains venous sinuses. So these venous sinuses are the plexuses. They communicate with the superficial veins by the perforator veins with the deep veins directly. So there is a connection between the superficial and the deep veins via the perforator veins from these plexuses. So whenever the muscle contracts, it helps the flow of blood from superficial veins to deep veins. So eventually blood reaches the heart. So the blood moves towards the heart. So that's why it is regarded as the peripheral heart. Okay, so because it contains venous plexuses which connects or which communicate with the superficial veins with the deep veins via the perforator veins. So this is about the origin, insertion, nerve supply, the action of soleus, and why it is regarded as the peripheral heart. Let us discuss about the last superficial muscle of the posterior compartment of the leg, the plantaris. It is a small muscle with a short belly, as you can see here, and has a long slender tendon. It lies between the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscle. The origin of plantaris: it arises from the lower one third of the lateral supracondylar line. Okay. Insertion: its tendon blends with the medial margin of the tendocalcaneus and inserted into the middle one third of the posterior surface of the calcaneum. Okay. So this long slender tendon during dissection can be mistaken as a nerve, so hence it is also known as the freshman's nerve. Okay, so while doing dissection, so this may be mistaken as a nerve. Okay, so you have to first identify the tendon, then you have to reach up to the muscle belly. Okay, then you can come to conclusion that it is a plantaris. Okay, the tendon of the plantaris. So actually the plantaris is a vestigial muscle. It does not have much importance. Okay, it is absent in 5 to 10% people, and it is a weak plantar flexor of the foot. Okay, it is a very weak plantar flexion of the foot that you have to remember. Okay, so this is about the plantaris. So we have discussed about the gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the plantaris, which are the superficial muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. You should remember their origin, insertion, nerve supply, and actions. Let us discuss about the deep muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. Let us discuss boundaries of the posterior compartment of the leg. Anteriorly, the posterior compartment of the leg, it is bounded by posterior surface of the tibia and the fibula and the interosseous membrane and posterior intermuscular septum. Posteriorly, it is bounded by deep fascia of the leg. As you can see here, this is the deep fascia of the leg, extending from the medial border of the tibia to the posterior intermuscular septum. The posterior compartment of the leg, it is subdivided by two strong fascial septa into three parts. Number one, that is superficial transverse septum. As you can see, this is the superficial transverse septum, and the deep transverse septum. So with these two septa, the posterior compartment of the leg is divided into three parts, into the superficial part, middle, and the deep part. So we shall see about these three parts in detail. Let me explain you again about the subdivisions of the posterior compartment of the leg, that it is subdivided by two strong fascial septa. One is superficial transverse septum, the other is. Let us discuss about the tibialis posterior muscle. It is one of the muscles of the deep groove in the posterior compartment of leg. The origin of the tibialis posterior, it arises from the posterior surface of the tibia below the soleal line, and also from the posterior surface of the fibula. Okay, so it arises from posterior surface of the tibia and posterior surface of the, roughly you should remember that it arises from posterior surface of the tibia below the soleal line and posterior surface of the fibula. Then the upper 2/3 of the posterior surface of the interosseous membrane. So it has three origins: posterior surface of the tibia, below the soleal line, posterior surface of the fibula, and also from the interosseous membrane. Now the tendon of the tibialis posterior, it crosses superficially by tendon of flexor distorum longus in the lower part of the leg. Then it groups back the medial malleolus of the tibia. So behind the medial malleolus you can see the tendon of the tibialis posterior. Okay, so it groups the back of the medial malleolus and it passes deep to the flexor retinaculum and superficially to the deltoid ligament of the knee, ankle joint. So this is the course of the tendon of the tibialis posterior. So it groups back on the posterior aspect of the medial malleolus, passes deep to the flexor retinaculum and superficial to the deltoid ligament of the ankle joint. Insertion of the tibialis posterior onto the tuberosity of the navicular bone and the slips of the tibialis posterior, they pass to all the tarsal bones except the talus and bases of second to fourth metatarsals. So that is the insertion of the tibialis posterior. Nerve supply is by the tibial nerve, right? The action of the tibialis posterior, it is responsible for the inversion of the foot. So it is an inverter of the foot, and it maintains the medial longitudinal arches of the foot. That is a separate topic, the arches of foot. So it is the tibialis posterior is responsible for maintaining the medial longitudinal arch of the foot. Okay, that you will learn in further classes about the arches of foot. So it is an inverter of the foot and it maintains the medial longitudinal arches of the foot. So this is about tibialis posterior, the origin from the posterior surface of the tibia, posterior surface of the fibula, and from the interosseous membrane. The tendon groups back of the medial malleolus and it passes superficial to the deltoid ligament and deep to the flexor retinaculum. Then inserts onto the tuberosity of the navicular bone and the slips, they pass to all the tarsals except the talus and bases of the second to fourth metatarsals. Let us discuss about the flexor distorum longus, one of the deep muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg. The origin of the flexor distorum longus, it arises from posterior aspect of the tibial shaft, or you can say from the medial part of the posterior surface of the tibia below the soleal line, and also from the fascia covering the tibialis posterior muscle. Its tendon, the tendon of the flexor distorum longus, it crosses superficially to the tendon of tibialis posterior in the lower part of the leg and tendon of flexor hallucis longus in the sole. So this flexor distorum longus tendon subdivides into 4 tendons, 1, 2, 3, 4, for the lateral 4 toes. For the lateral 4 toes, so it subdivides the tendon of the flexor distorum longus subdivides into 4 tendons for lateral 4 toes. Insertion: the plantar surface of the base of the distal phalanges for the lateral 4 toes. Plantar surface of the base of the distal phalanges for the lateral 4 toes is the insertion of flexor digitorum longus. So this muscle, it is supplied by tibial nerve. Okay, action of the flexor digitorum longus. It is responsible for the plantar flexion of the lateral 4 toes and plantar flexion at the ankle, and it maintains the longitudinal arches of the foot. So that is about the flexor digitorum longus. So let us discuss about flexor hallucis longus. It arises from lower 3/4 of the posterior surface of the shaft of the fibula, and also from the posterior interosseous membrane. So it arises from the fibula and from the interosseous membrane. Its tendon, it grooves the two bones, the talus and the calcaneum. In the sole, it is crossed superficially by the tendon of flexor digitorum longus. So this is about the tendon of the flexor hallucis longus. Insertion of the flexor hallucis longus onto the plantar surface of the base of the distal phalanx of the great toe. Plantar surface of the base of the distal phalanx of the great toe. It is supplied by the tibial nerve. Action of the flexor hallucis longus. It plantar flexes the great toe and is also responsible for plantar flexion of the ankle, and it supports medial longitudinal arch of the foot. So this is about the origin, insertion of supply, action of the flexor hallucis longus. So with this we have discussed the 4 deep muscles. Number 1, the popliteus, the tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus and flexor hallucis longus. So you should remember the origin, the course of the tendon, insertion, nerve supply and action of the all the superficial and the deep groove muscles of the posterior compartment of the leg.